Hello everybody, this is Viel and I am back today with another review for you guys. And today's review is finally, oh my god, it's gonna be a movie review. A little bit of a change in the background just because, look at that, I'm actually seated right now. So, yeah. Today is gonna be a book review and it's gonna be on this book that I picked up in Manila a couple months ago on my trip there. You might have seen it a little bit highlighted in my December Manila book haul. It should be down on this channel. And it is on this really nice orange book called Naermyth. This is by Karen Francisco. And it is 250 pesos, which is really cheap. I think it's like about $5 or so. $5 or $6. Really cheap book. It's thin. Nice glossy finish. This book is actually a dystopian novel that is set in the Philippines, supposedly 5 years after the start of the apocalypse. I'm actually gonna read you guys the blurb in the background because I think it really good. You know, it's a pretty good summary of what the story is gonna be. So I'm gonna attempt to read that in a non-annoying fashion. Okay. So it says, never were they myth in the first place. The world has ended. It was not because of a comet, a prophecy, natural disaster, or whatever garbage foretold on the internet, but because every myth ever written turned out to be an account of historical fact. These monsters we've read about as children waged a war that led to human race's downfall, and the unlucky who survived are hunted down, or even worse, tortured. In these dark times, people could only turn to the shepherd for help. I am one such shepherd, and I thought my only task was to protect the few humans who still thrive on this desolate world. But when I rescued Dorian from the dwende captivity, duendes are, they're like elves or evil gnomes, like eviler. Okay, eviler is not even a word, right? More evil and sinister. So they're not Snow White's dwarfs or anything. They're kind of scary. Captivity. I discovered that not only is he the most dangerous thing to have around, but he could be our one hope for redemption. I now find myself protecting a natural born killer. But in doing so, I'm turning my back on everything human. I think the blurb on the back really hooks you. And this story actually is told in first person in the viewpoint of Athena Abigail Aegis. That's her code name as a shepherd, Dizon. Shepherds are kind of like these mercenary warriors who are going out on retrieval trips around the country to retrieve survivors from this war. Naermyth are actually, it's a play on the word nevermyth, that actually these mythological creatures, as in the world of this book, that are, oh God, that they're not actually myth at all. So there are aswangs, which are like kind of like these vampire creatures with bat wings. There's manananggal, who are half women, half bat, and you know, they detach from their lower part of their body. There's also the cigar addicted giants called kapres, who love to get enamored by young, beautiful virgin women. There's also the tikbalang, who are traditionally portrayed as half human, half horse. And of course the dwende, which I said they're dwarves, but more sinister and just in general just more evil. And a bunch of other little characters, more minor and lesser known mythological characters in between. There's actually a whole part about diwatas, which are fairies or mountain fairies or mountain nymphs and spirits, who actually are kind of like they're Switzerland in the story, that they are not like siding with humans. They're not siding with the more evil Naermyth at all, and they're kind of like a more elevated mythological beings. So the story starts off with Athena, who is codenamed Aegis. They all get codenames because they have this thing called Rumpelstiltskin anomaly that a Naermyth can learn their name and control them against their will by just knowing their real name, their real human name. So they all have code names, all the shepherds. And they use swords or weapons that have been salted, pretty much dipped in saline solution, because salt is the only way that these Naermyth, when they are sliced and diced, cannot regenerate. It begins the story of Athena, who pretty much is in her early 20s, that used to be a very sheltered girl from a rich family that has since the 5 years turned into this ruthless, almost heartless warrior. And it all changes when she rescues Dorian from dwende captivity, and he just sparks this protective instinct in her, and he doesn't know that he's actually the most dangerous of all, and there's a huge twist on what he really is. What they end up getting, what did they do? Yeah, they end up trying to find the leader and stop this whole huge battle in the end. And they have to find the leader of the Naermyth to actually do that. There's actually, for a book that has a lot of battles and a lot of blood, there's not that much going on. There's a lot of like introspective moments on it. And actually, okay, the thing I like about the books, okay, I like the fact that the world has not ended because of a zombie or like a vampire apocalypse or some chemical explosion or whatever, like it said on the blurb, but is actually by creatures that we thought were not real, that was just fairy tales and stories from our grandmothers at bedtime, and that are actually real and in flesh and blood, and that actually in the world of the book, they're actually offspring, product of the union between the archangels, which are the highest, purest being in the book, mythological beings, with human women, who actually these bad creatures end up taking up the worst attributes of human beings. And the fact that the leader kind of has this Hitler persona, that he thinks that they're superior because they have more power and they're invincible, is actually, you know, not privy to the fact that their existence actually is based on the fact that the human side of them actually takes on the worst, like the greed, the lust, the desire for power, just the most ugly part of being a human being. And that's where all of these mythological creatures come from. And I like that about the book, and I like that it covers a lot of the places in the Philippines. Like Makati is the stronghold for aswangs because it's a swamp. Pangasinan is definitely, you know, Naermyth free because it is Pangasinan, which is the land of salt. It's the most salted, I guess, place in the Philippines. And what else? Baguio is a dead zone because it is on a mountain, on a plateau, and because of its altitude, the Naermyth doesn't like to go. They don't like to go there. Capiz, which every Filipino kid who grew up in the Philippines would know that it is the place where all of the aswang comes from, and naturally that's how it is in this book. And I like that they do that. But what I did not like, I would actually give this book 4 out of 5 because it's a pretty good foray into dystopian novels, which is not a very, you know, common genre in the Philippines, in Filipino novels. But I almost felt that Miss Francisco actually just wrote the book for it to be opted out to be a movie, which would not be a good idea in the Philippines because they would not have enough budget and just the resources to build a believable, like, mythological creature based movie. But I felt that most of the names in the book, most of the book is written in very, very good, grammatically correct English. I believe Miss Francisco was a law student or a lawyer. But you kind of felt detached because there's not a lot that would, spoken wise, like the dialogue, there's not a lot that would really connect you to Filipino culture. So I think that was not a good choice. But otherwise, I think it's, and also the cover, I mean, You could have printed this in a very nice kind of like Hunger Games hardbound edition with a beautiful spine and cover, and just with better paper, not like this just really white, pretty generic copy paper. And it would actually hook a lot of people and would want to read it and buy a sequel. But unfortunately, as you can see, it's a very normal book that's not very well published. So I think if it looks a lot better, it would have been a more enticing read for young adults in the Philippines. I picked it up because I read the blurb and I kind of wanted to read it, but I think if it was pretty enough to put on my bookshelf, it would have been much an easier buy and a better hook for me. And aesthetics in a book is a lot. It's almost everything. You can't have a good book and not have a good look. But other than that, I would recommend this book for somebody who would like to have a different kind of feel read for Filipino books. I don't think it's available internationally yet, but I think you can get it as an ebook, I believe. You can Google that. And that would be it. This is Viel, and again, this is a very long, lengthy, more articulate book review from me, but I hope you guys like this video. Like this video if you like it, and also subscribe down below on the link, and there's a bunch of links where you can find me and follow me on Twitter and everywhere on Goodreads. And I hope to see you guys on a more festive and a more happy video. Sorry, this was more of like an analytical look at a book, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not like I didn't enjoy it, it's just that there was a lot of issues that I had with the book. So I'll see you guys on the next book review, and you guys have a good day. Bye!